Hello, and welcome to our Maundy Thursday edition of Daily Bread Thoughts for Your Devotions. Guys, we're getting into the thick of Holy Week right now. Tomorrow is Good Friday, Easter is on the horizon, but today is Maundy Thursday. Maundy, from the Latin word mandatum, which means the law, a new commandment, really, is what Jesus gives us. And we could spend some time talking about that, talking about the foot washing that happens in the upper room, this new command of the Lord's Supper: eat and drink. This is my body, this is my blood. Do this in remembrance of me. I want to talk a little bit about what the Apostle Paul equates this to. The Apostle Paul says, whenever we eat this bread and drink this cup, we proclaim Christ's death until he comes again. Now, I've preached some sermons on this and even some titles that got me in trouble, like God is dead, the famous Nietzsche quote. But we do proclaim Christ's death until he comes. And what does that really mean? Is thinking about what we've been talking about this entire week, which is salvation, being saved. Who can be saved? Do we need to be saved? In what condition of our heart? How do we know that we need to be saved? Today, I want to talk about just what it means to be saved. What are we saved to? We are saved from ourselves, and we're saved from sin and that sort of thing, death, Satan. What are we saved to? Because if we think in terms that Paul uses in the Roman Empire, where up to 90% of people could be classified as something of a slave or client, right? Paul says that we're no longer enslaved in the same way that we were enslaved before Jesus comes. That's what he says in Galatians chapter 4. In the same way also, when we were children, we were enslaved to the elementary principles of the world. And so if you think about this terminology, we were once enslaved, and now Christ has saved us. So what does that look like now? Why do we so marvel at this idea that Christ came and died for us? Why do we proclaim Christ's death? Why do we get together and call Good Friday good? Brothers and sisters, might I posit to you that Christ has set us free from the slavery of the one thing that we cannot control. The one thing that stands to rob us of all of our freedom and our free will, whatever that means. Christ came to free us from death. Just let that sink in for a minute. The one thing that you cannot control, the one thing that is completely out of your control. Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of things out there that we could say are completely out of our control, but the one thing that constantly nags at us, the one thing that is sure and certain and in your future, that's the one thing that Christ came to solve for you, to save you from, so that you could be free once more. And yes, I know we will all die physically one day. However, what we have from Jesus is not only an eternal life that begins now spiritually, it's a gift from him in our baptism, but also we have the guarantee because of Easter that our bodies will rise again too. And this kind of fits in this whole theme that I've been talking about for the past 3 weeks: spirituality and physicality. Jesus meets both of these demands in order to free us from any sort of slavery, any sort of servitude, any sort of bondage that we might experience. And he sets us free for freedom. Paul says that again in the next chapter of Galatians. Of course, he's talking about something else, but he still says we're set free. We're set free. You, because of tomorrow, get to celebrate today. Because of Good Friday, we get to celebrate Christ's body and his blood. Because of Easter, we celebrate it with hope. So, what I'm planning to do is tomorrow, after you guys are done with your Good Friday services, I think most of them will be done by 8 o'clock. I'm going to do a live stream and just kind of unpack some things. I'm hoping to have a guest or maybe two, but if that falls through because it's Good Friday and it's a holiday weekend, then we'll make do without it. But you can tune in on Facebook at 8 Central, and we'll have a Good Friday message, Good Friday devotion for you. You are free. That is the good news. Jesus Christ has died for you. May you go in confidence with that. And we will pray tomorrow.